baby. Why don't you let me in? Oh, baby. Be by your side.
Welcome, everyone, to the Barely Friends podcast. My name is Isaiah.
My name's Eric.
We're excited to be here today. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. All-Star game, Super Bowl results, Red Sox. But if you're new with us, we're happy you joined us. We are two friends talking about sports, mainly basketball, mainly NBA, mainly Celtics, but we'll talk about other sports that are relevant that we want to talk about. So we're going to get started. We have a lot to talk about today. So first we got some, oh, actually, wait. Eric, you told me that you're going to see who soon? NBA basketball player? Is that correct, or is that just rumors? Whistleblower.
Yeah, so it is a bit of a rumor.
Okay.
I feel like every episode has some kind of celebrity happenings going on. And actually for All-Star Weekend, unfortunately, I could not make it.
Okay.
So I will not be meeting this player right now, maybe down the line. But I got invited to meet Kevin Durant.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
San Francisco, where the All-Star game was happening, there's a steak shop. I honestly cannot recall the name of the shop.
Yep.
But they have a new sandwich called the Steak by Kevin Durant.
Okay.
So
Yep.
kind of like my Raising Cane's event where I went and interviewed Drew Holiday and David Ortiz. They're going to have Kevin Durant at this steak shop, selling the sandwich that he worked on.
Right.
And I was
right.
going to like ask him a few questions.
Okay. All right. Well, that's awesome that I got invited. Hopefully next time you could attend, and hopefully next time you invite me to. Yeah. next time. But that's awesome. Hopefully next time you get to meet KD, because I'm sure he's been saying some things about the All-Star game. We'll get into later, but he is, if you see him in person, I mean, that's and you're an NBA fan, you're in awe, kind of. So that'll be a cool experience when that happens. We're gonna go into some breaking news right now, and it's gonna start with the All-Star game. We're gonna go into more detail about the All-Star game and all the elements, the three-point contest, the skills challenge, All-Star game itself, all that. But first, regarding the dunk contest in 2026, apparently, Ja Morant, Giannis, and Zach LaVine have expressed interest in the dunk contest for next year. Now, I'm not sold just because Ja Morant had tweeted something about, Mac McClung has won 3 times, like, Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon, he tweeted, we got to come back. We got to go at this guy. Zach LaVine said, essentially, I'm interested. We'll see what happens. Aaron Gordon, I don't know if he responded, but then Giannis separately said, I would consider doing the dunk contest. This better happen. This really better happen. We can get into the details of why, I'm kind of more emphatic on that, but yeah, how do you feel if that were to happen?
Yeah, I would definitely be interested in seeing, like you said, Giannis, Ja Morant, maybe even get Zion Williamson in there. But I'd see that, Matt McClellan got 3 straight, and a lot of people are interested in challenging him now.
Yeah.
Like you said, on Twitter, on X, they talked about, the dunk contest and how dominant he's been in it. And I know that recently, the only star who's really stepped up is Jaylen Brown last year. But for the last, couple of years, there really hasn't been any superstars who have taken on this challenge of taking on Matt McClung and being in this contest.
Yeah. I'll talk about more Mac McClung later as well on the show. There's a lot of stuff to talk about with All-Star, but that is some things just regarding next year's dunk contest. So we'll see what happens. That'd be really awesome if all of them joined, but we will find out later. Some other news in the NBA, not necessarily regarding basketball, but regarding media rights. Shaquille O'Neal is on TNT, and he just got a brand new deal, $15 million deal with TNT, which means that once the transfer happens between TNT and ESPN, Shaq, Charles Barkley, Kenny the Jet Smith, and EJ Ernie will be hosting the show still, just on ESPN. So hopefully ESPN doesn't do anything. Hopefully they keep them the same, like the Pat McAfee show, because the Pat McAfee show is pretty much something censored because they're pretty explicit.
Yeah.
Still are, but they better keep them the way they are.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be really cool to see this. I know last season they're talking about, oh, it looks like the gang's gonna break up, but take him over to ESPN. And I mean, no offense to Pat, whatever his name is,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I like Shaq and the Crew a lot better than him.
Sure.
I think
Sure.
they're really entertaining. They have a lot of good commentary insight. But I look forward to seeing that next year.
Yeah, McAfee's funny. They just get a little off topic more so than Chuck and all them. So, but hoping for the best for them, and hopefully that transition is smooth. Last of the breaking news, my Red Sox. Now, it's not our Red Sox like our Celtics, because he is unfortunately a Yankees fan. So we must play the trombone there, and it's very unfortunate. But there is some breaking news with the Red Sox. They have signed Alex Bregman, a 3-year, $120 million deal, and he says, Eric, that he plans on winning here. That means the Red Sox. Now, as a Yankees fan, I must ask you this. Do you believe that the Yankees will win before the Red Sox, or the Red Sox will win before the Yankees with this move?
So I know Yankees were just in the World Series last year.
Yes.
And honestly, I didn't think they were up to par with the Dodgers. I knew that before the series started. But for that conference they playing together, I think the Yankees still got it. Juan Soto, well, he's gone, but the big guy, Aaron Judge, I think he's got it. I think the squad's got it. I think they're going back and they have another chance.
Yeah, I will answer it like this. I think the Yankees will probably make it to the World Series before the Red Sox. But I don't know. I think if the Red Sox make it next time, whenever that is, I think they have a good chance. We always feel like we win it like every 4 years or something like that. I feel like that's kind of been, these last 8 to 12 years, it's kind of been our streak. So I don't know. I mean, I know Alex Bregman is really good. He was from the Houston Astros. I think he won World Series or two with the Astros. So he's a great baseball player. And I don't really know who else we have. I think we've gotten some good pieces in the offseason. But I think we're looking up. I think we're looking up this season. I don't think we're gonna go to the World Series this year. Maybe 2 years, 3 years. So we'll see. We'll see. So
Oh yeah, but we got to stop the Dodgers. They gotta get out there.
yeah, I mean, they just signed another. I don't know what his name is. Another pitcher. I think from like Japan, who's supposed to be really good. I don't know. They just keep signing everyone, but maybe we can just create an all stars of everyone, right? It's like the world against U.S. It's all the other MLB teams against Dodgers. So we'll see. We'll see. All right. Into our basketball segment here. All-Star Weekend. Okay. There was a lot happening. If you didn't watch it, I don't blame you. Okay. I was planning not to watch it actually at all. Until my brother said he was going to watch the 3-point contest because he had some bets on some of the things. I don't think he won any of those bets. But he said that he was going to watch it. So I'm like, all right, sure. And then I was like, oh yeah, probably be good to watch it for the podcast, right? So we're going to break down each contest. We're going to break down 3-point contest, the skills challenge, and the dunk contest. And we are going to make sense of it, and go for it. So first is the skills challenge. Let me start with you, Eric. What did you make? I guess each time we talk about one of the 3-point contests, All-Star game, I'll ask you what did you think of it, and then we'll kind of dissect some of the main topics.
Yeah.
But what did you think of the skills challenge?
I remember seeing this happen live, and I immediately texted you and I was like, "Here's what I think about the skills challenge."
Yeah.
So of course we saw Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama representing the Spurs at All-Star Weekend Skills Challenge.
Yep.
And they went right through the course. I think they finished in like 45 seconds.
Yep.
And they were very efficient, you would say.
Very efficient. Yeah.
But the issue is all their shots were just like little lobs to the point that the NBA doesn't even consider them to be valid shots.
Right.
And for that reason, they were disqualified.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, I would say that Chris Paul and Wembanyama did nothing wrong. And the reason why is because these are pro players. And in the skills challenge, the skill is, can I shoot 3 basketballs at a hoop?
Yeah.
And if you miss all those shots, it doesn't matter because you just keep going with the course. So I think it's more of an issue with the rules of the NBA All-Star Skills Challenge that they should say, hey, you're a pro player. You need to make at least 1 basket in the hoop.
Yeah.
Now, if you go through this challenge, like we could go through as Team Barely Friends, and we can miss every shot and still win the course.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it's an issue with the NBA of fixing those rules And then Chris Paul, did a good statement of bringing attention to this issue.
Yeah, I totally agree with the rules. With the rules that you just mentioned. It look what happened when Chris Paul and Wemby, did that when they were throwing the ball instead of shooting it. There was some member of the I don't know event, the program that came over and showed them the rules of what was happening. And my main issue, and I will give credit to my brother Ty, shout out to Ty. He was like, why didn't they just let them do it over? Like it's All-Star weekend.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Why when you bring up rules, why are you automatically disqualified from not participating in that event and not even having a chance? You had Wemby, who could be eventually, I love Wemby. You know me. I love Wemby.
You're already a fan.
I want a jersey from him. Why wouldn't you want to see him actually attempt it with Chris Paul, who, besides not having a ring, is an NBA legend? It's just weird. That's one aspect to this weekend of the All-Star game that just wacky, very wacky.
Yeah, I know in general, we talk about the skills challenge. Most people consider it to be like the lesser of the three events.
Yeah.
And I feel like Chris Paul and Wembanyama made a good statement of, bringing attention to this issue and the rules and possibly having the team alter it next year to maybe make it more competitive or just be more clarifying of what needs to happen in the future. But I agree with Ty. I think that's a great point that they could just let him do them again because that was the first time it's ever happened.
Right. What's the big deal? And honestly, like, I understood the boos because there were boos from fans coming in and just not doing, just not shooting the ball and stuff. But then it's like, again, they thought it wasn't part of the rule. They wanted to be efficient and win the thing. And that's, again, the NBA's fault for having it be like that.
But like if they just like took the ball and went
right at the basket, right? And then that's a shot. That's a shot, right? So yeah. Okay. That's a skills challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one thing. 3-point contest. I don't really have much to say on this. Tyler Hero won. Congratulations, Hero. You won. I honestly wasn't rooting for you. I was rooting for Darius Garland or Buddy Hield. Like in the final three. Like
I thought you were gonna say Jalen Brunson, to be honest.
No, I actually was rooting for Katie Cunningham just because he had the lowest odds. So I was like, let's do it. Let's get the underdog. And I saw why he had the lowest ranking. not great he's been great this season. I think he's an all-star. He's been fantastic, but the 3-point shot and not so much. But anything on the 3-point contest?
Did you watch the event too?
I did, yes.
So I know that Buddy Hield hit like 31 points in the first round.
Yes, tying Steph Curry's record.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he went cold in the second round considerably.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So myself personally, I would have been happy with either Buddy Hield winning or with Damian Lillard going with for 3-peat.
Yes.
Yeah. I just feel like Tyler Hero, he did okay, but he did okay for both rounds. And that's like not really a championship performance in my opinion. Even though he still won, it's kind of mid.
Yeah, I was surprised. I don't know. I mean, he's a shooter. He is a shooter. He is a big time shooter. But I don't know. I don't, especially not with this year's Heat. I mean, everything has been circle around, Jimmy Butler. So, but yeah, Hero. I was like, okay. And then the Damian Lillard thing, not even being in the finals, that was disappointing. I was really looking forward to him being in the finals. So. But honestly, I was like, like there weren't probably as many 3-pointers going in, but I wasn't too upset. That was fine for me. That was fine for me. Yeah. Dunk contest. Take it away. What thoughts and
so right away, I was watching with my dad and with Sodi, and Sodi really that was her first time watching the dunk contest. She's not really a basketball fan.
Yep.
And the first thing right away she sees each of the three dunkers. Off the top of my head, I can't recover all their names.
Yeah.
But we get to Matt McClung, and first dunker off the back, he jumps over a car, like right between his legs and slam dunk.
Right. And
right then, 10s across the board. Like I was like, all right, that's a wrap right there. And each dunk after that was also really creative too.
Yep.
I think he just completely dominated the contest. And part of the issue too was the other dunkers I felt like didn't really match that same level of creativity as him. So I watched, some decent dunks from the other guys, but all 4 of his dunks were just posters.
Yeah, I remember one of the guys' names was Axon Jackson. Axon Jackson, one of his nick. The way they just presented these players, like there was like a 5-minute long, intro to these guys who don't even play. Okay, and all Mac McClung's highlights were not NBA; they were dunk contests. Why? Because he doesn't play in the NBA. He's had like 1 minute total. But I will say he deserves a 3P. Last year I was like, all right, I'm kind of done with McClung. Like, can we just get real NBA stars in? They don't do it again. They get these, I don't even want to say mid-level players. Just sorry, no, almost no name. Andre Jackson Jr. I don't know.
Let's be real.
No, yeah, they're not relevant. Okay. But McClung is phenomenal, and honestly, at this point, probably wouldn't mind seeing him every year if he's gonna do something different. Like he hasn't done something like the same in each of those contests, and they've all been incredible dunks. So I'm fine for the Mac McClung dunk show, unless you bring Ja and Zach LaVine. But honestly, I'll tell you this: this may be a hot take. I don't know if they're gonna win if they place McClung. I really don't. And my whole thing with that is just, I don't think they can be as creative as McClung. I don't know if they can think of anything different and also jaw-dropping that McClung does.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but of course we know McClung plays in the G League, but he was actually the G League's MVP for this season.
Oh, oh yeah. Yep.
So although he's not playing in NBA games, he's still like this great developmental player.
Yep.
I don't really know if his future will be in the NBA, like as a rotation player, but I can say that like so far developmentally he's been doing fine.
Sure.
But no, he has time on the road to think of all these different ideas and practice them. And if you're a full-time NBA player, like last year, Jaylen Brown, he's trying his best every game, and he doesn't have time to be practicing these different
right.
creative
McClung's got a
dunks.
lot of time on his hands. Got a lot of time.
So I think that the time aspect is what's really contributing to those wins too.
For sure. Right. And then, if you're gonna have other, dunkers that are not NBA stars, have him be Mike McClung and have all the time in the world to have all this time. And, because that'd be fun. You got 4 McClungs going up against each other. Who wouldn't want to see that? Who wouldn't want to see that? So that was all right. Again, McClung was great, but again, we want the stars. Lastly, the All-Star game. And I will just start off by saying LeBron did not play in the All-Star game. And I watch First Take, watching a lot of First Take recently on the All-Star game. And I guess the way that LeBron, because he told Adam Silver or whoever last minute, and they weren't able to get a replacement. I don't know. It doesn't rub me the right way. I don't think it rubs a lot of people the right way that he just kind of dissed the All-Star game like that. Was still there on the sideline, kind of knowing that he wouldn't play. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. So as you know, I'm a LeBron defender.
Yes. Yeah.
So I know like it's a hot take, but I believe it is his 20th selection.
Yeah.
I believe even if he did forfeit his spot, he still would have like on his resume got that selection like considered. I know there's also 2 people who were out early this week or last week because of injury. Like I know Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, got swapped in the game, and I think Trae Young somehow got in the game. But if LeBron did give up his spot, it would be going to someone who was around that level of like Trae Young or someone who probably could use that attention and that support from the NBA, like going to All-Star Weekend.
Yeah.
But I think LeBron earned selection, and if he decided to sit it out, it was his first time out of 20 times.
Yeah.
So not the worst thing in the world, but definitely could have been for someone else.
Yeah. I just if he just told someone earlier to have that spot open to someone who, someone was talking about Norman Powell, just for this year, he was deserving of getting a spot, and he didn't, because the Clippers are 4th, and I think he was the main reason for that. So, but That's the first thing. Okay. Then the All-Star game itself. I didn't watch the game. I was kind of all set. I like tuned in and then I saw the Rising Stars. And then I was like, that's right. It's this format, the tournament style, and everyone has a team. Then I saw the highlights, and then I saw that Mr. Beast was a part of the stuff. Like Mr. Beast, Kevin Hart, and potentially others. They had put these guys in to do these like contests or like, Kevin Hart's a comedian, so he did jokes and stuff. But they took up like 5 minutes or so because the games go up to 40. So they had all these not random, they're famous, but they had all these guys come in and do all these random things. And even the players were like, it just kind of threw off the whole mojo, threw off the whole game. And just, going up to 40 and I don't know. I don't think I'm a big fan of this new style. And again, you still have to give props to Adam Silver for trying something, trying to get players, attention and motivation. But it's on the players at the end of the day. And yeah, it's just odd.
Yeah. I'll start by saying I know he is trying to improve the game, like you said also that he's, making improvements to
Yeah.
try to alter things and make it more interesting. But it is up to the players, and if the players aren't invested in this format, which I don't really know why they would be. I mean, they split it up into 4 teams instead of 2 teams. That doesn't really change much of the dynamics, but players' interest.
Yeah.
Like I said, I honestly would just go back to either East versus West, or I know another idea that's very popular is World versus USA.
Yep.
So I think the 4-team thing, it just gets too complicated. No one's really invested in it. We're not invested in it. They're not invested in it.
Yep.
Adam Silver, if he wants to watch it, just play some 2K.
Go.
But no, I just didn't like the idea.
Yeah, no. Again, though, if we go back to the basics, either East, West, or US international would be interesting. I think because there'd be a lot of pride on the line, and I think that would be a lot of investment on the players that kind of want to win. But it's on the players. They got to produce effort. And I guess they did a little more this year, or these games. But it's not enough.
Yeah, I guess kind of a spitball question.
Yeah.
But what would you do to like incentivize the players and give them that additional boost?
Yeah, I remember when we were talking about the All-Star game and the All-Star format. You actually weren't on the episode. It was Spencer and Ty, but like you mentioned charity for something, for one of these events, and I think having it be charity, having something where these players can donate to something they want, their cause, and to have motivation in that sense. Again, I got to bring up my guy, Stephen A. Smith. Or you just don't, as a commissioner, whatever this looks like, I don't really know what this would look like, but they mentioned like David Stern, for instance, like if these players were not putting effort like they would now, David Stern would not have had it. So I don't know, having penalties, having, I don't know. I think suspension is a little harsh. But I don't know. I guess not giving the players as much say or as much power as they may have right now, because they can do what they want right now, and they can show no effort. And Kevin Durant said he doesn't really care that they don't show effort. He said, "Don't watch the game," because I agree, and I'm like, okay, thank you. That doesn't help anyone. So, I don't know. I think it's really tough. I think those things come to mind, but it's tough right now.
Yeah, I guess the thing is, one option is just to completely get rid of All-Star Weekend, which I would not want to see happen.
No, right.
But it does feel like for example, put yourself in the shoes of, I don't know, Anthony Davis or Kyrie Irving, who's like dealing with injuries.
Yep.
And they have to come and play this recreational game on a Sunday, and they're spending time away from their families, while there are other players like, I don't know, gotta throw some strays over here, but Daniel Gafford or Trey Murphy or someone like that who's just like away at home on vacation during the All-Star weekend. if you're an all-star who is in the game, you're basically putting in more time at work versus someone who's not as skilled who gets a full 3 or 4 day vacation at home.
Right.
So that's also another factor.
Right. And I'll bring this last point, or one of the last points. If you look at the MLB All-Star game, they've kept it pretty much the same. Home run derby. You have a, regular baseball game. Their effort is there. They're not like letting up. They're not lobbing at them. There's like a home run derby during like they're actually playing defense and they're actually playing. So there's that one end, keeping it the same and, having some pride and wanting to play. And then you have the NFL that got rid of their, all-star equivalent game. And no one, I don't think, I would have to assume their ratings are down. I don't watch that.
I turned on my TV for a second. I saw like a tug of war contest. It's like, nah, I'm turning the channel. Like, I didn't watch that.
I'm like, no, yeah. So NFL, it's a little different too because like injuries, like that was like when it was kaput, like players were done. It was like, all right, like no one's gonna play, because I understand, you don't want to get injured, but basketball, you still get injured, but it's not the same. It's not contact, really. So, All-Star Weekend as a whole, for me, was eh. It was eh. And I think a lot of people, you could say the same thing. It was kind of eh.
Yeah. Compared to last year's, would you say last year's was better, or would you say about the same or worse?
I forget. Was the All-Star game East and West? Or did like they pick?
I believe
someone pick?
Last year's was East and West, and
Yep.
that was the one with the Steph Curry, Sabrina 3-point challenge. And
Right. Oh,
that one.
yeah, that was good. I did like that was Sabrina, Steph Curry. I guess I give it a little bit more to last year. A little bit more, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close. I don't really see much of a big difference. So,
did you watch the Luigi? I can't even say his name. Leandro Ball halftime show.
Swerve. Swerve. I like Ty's like been hooked on that song. So like that song came out. I was like, Ty, come down. He was like upstairs. He's like, oh, I swerve. Like, I'm not a fan of that song. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. You can hate me if you want. I don't really care. I'm not a fan. So
yeah,
as a music artist,
you got to keep practicing.
Yeah. We'll end it there. I was a little hot.
He's not quite at that Kendrick Lamar level yet.
Not even close. I appreciate Lonzo, shouting him out and all that stuff, but not even close. But that's the All-Star game in a nutshell. If you want to see the highlights, you can go ahead, but you don't have to. All right. More ball is life. Draymond Green has been talking a lot. He actually talked about the All-Star game as well, and players need to have effort. He just didn't put accountability on himself and the players, but he said the right things. But he also said though that the NBA game is very boring right now. And he says that it's just who can run faster, who can hit more threes, and there is no substance. What do you feel about that quote?
I know this season, more than any other season, we've been talking about a decline in ratings. And I know that, for example, the Warriors' philosophy, the one that's really stuck out is shoot as much as you can. Like, you live by a three, you die by a three.
Mm-hmm.
The Celtics adopted the same mantra, and they won a championship too. So I think more teams are getting invested in this live by the three, die by a three dynamic.
Yeah.
And it takes away from a league that was once dominated by big mans in the paint. So, for example, we have Joel Embiid, Karl-Anthony Towns, Zion Williamson, but those kind of players, we're really seeing a decline in their performance on the court and seeing more of like Steph Curry, Jalen Brunson, like those kind of guards making more of an impact because of the 3-point shooting.
Right. Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with Draymond here. I mean, I've talked about, our Celtics, and I've mentioned that, I watch their games, and a lot of the times it just feels like they just throw up threes because they have to, because that's their philosophy. And it's just not fun to watch at times. And I think we believe they're the best team in the league. And, I would think, I think one of the most entertaining pieces in the NBA game right now is just individual talent. Individual talent, Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, LeBron, Jokic, Anthony, like all these individuals who can do amazing things. And it is great. And it is fun to watch them dunk on people and cross people up. It is great. The team aspect, though, of the entertainment, that is lacking right now in the NBA. And so, again, this is, how do you fix it? I don't really know. Yes, effort, but like, how do you instill effort? I don't know. I know there's all these talks with changing the 3-point line and, making quarters to 10 instead of 12. But I don't know. I think starts with the players and they have to figure out, kind of have to look outward instead of inward. And more so just about the game itself and not about their own talent and their own success. But when you get to that level, when you get that money, I think it's pretty hard to do that.
Yeah, I'll co-sign that.
Yeah. So, but I don't think Draymond's wrong necessarily. I just think it's on the players, which includes him. So,
yeah.
All right. Moving forward again, and still in Ball is Life, we have some updates for standings coming into the second half of the season. So in the East, we have the Cavaliers number 1, Celtics 2, and the Knicks number 3. And in the West, we have the Thunder, the Grizzlies, Nuggets, Rockets, and Lakers. And then some surprises, at least I noted, Pistons are 6 right now, which that is very surprising. That means they are in the playoffs. They're not even in the play-in. They're in the playoffs. So Cade Cunningham, again, an all-star. Huge props to him and that team and what they're doing there. So Pistons are there. 76ers are on the other side, are 11th and not in a great position. Clippers are 6 right now, and the Suns are 11th with KD, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. So these are just, again, standings coming into this second half. And, believe the Celtics are still on top. Cavs can make some noise. But, I think the 76ers stay there. I think they stay where they are at the bottom, just with Embiid not being at his best. Suns, too. They got a lot of change. So there'll be a lot of switches and a lot of different things coming up in the second half. But
yeah, I looked further down the standings, and I believe the only 4 teams who are like truly out of it are the Wizards, Pelicans, and there was 2 other teams. I want to say Jazz.
Yep.
But there was like literally 4 teams that are like 5-10 games out, and the rest like Suns. I feel if they win 2 or 3, their momentum's right back up there, and they could possibly slip into the play-in.
Yep.
But I think that it's gonna be the Wild Wild West. The East, in my opinion, is pretty solid. But you're gonna see a lot of shifting in the West. And for the Warriors, I think they're a very unpredictable team right now, where they could either do very well or they could slip down and tank this season.
Well, speaking of the Warriors, Eric, there was a trade that we didn't talk about because it kind of happened after. It kind of happened a little after our episode when we talked about Luka and AD. But Jimmy Butler went to the Warriors. And it's significant because Jimmy Butler is still a pretty good player. And you've paired him up with Steph Curry and Draymond Green. And last episode, or maybe the episode before that, there was discussion, or, you had talked about the Warriors and being kaput, essentially. And Justin Santos, shout out to Justin Santos, kind of, saying, had some comments about that. And now he gets Jimmy Butler. I really wanted him on this episode to talk about how he felt with this Jimmy. But I guess we're going to have to go with your perspective and how this trade went with Jimmy.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to double down on my opinion.
Okay,
so straight for Justin Santos. I'm going to double down and say, the end of the season, Steve Kerr fired. Draymond Green, he's going to leave on his own terms, free agency. And Jim Butler is going to be a disaster. Like, he's going to want to leave.
That was at you, Justin. Straight at you. So we'll talk after. Yeah. They're not. I know it moves them up a little bit in the ladder, but again, like you said, the West is wild. There's so many good teams in the West. I don't believe they're going to win it. But this is Steph Curry and Draymond Green's last ride. They had to do something, and they got Jimmy Butler. So we'll see what happens, but I don't see anything happening really significant. And then a couple other things that happened. Mark Williams was supposed to be on the Lakers, and now he's not. He's no longer on the Lakers. That trade got rescinded because Mark Williams did not pass his physical. So now Dalton Connect and I forget who else was in that trade are back in the Lakers, and Mark Williams is back on the Hornets. So now they need to find. They did sign a big man. I think Alex Len. Yes, they signed him. So that's decent. I think Mark Williams would have been a little better because he's younger, and that would have paired him up with Luka for the long term. But very interesting that trade.
Yeah, I guess 2 quick questions. So, do you think Mark Williams had any involvement of failing his physical on purpose? And second of all, if you were Dalton Connect, like you're going back to the Lakers, do you feel like okay with it, or do you feel maybe some bitterness towards it?
Yeah. So with Mark Williams, I don't know why you would fail your physical on purpose. I mean, you're going from Charlotte to Los Angeles Lakers, and you're gonna be playing with LeBron and Luka. I don't see why you would purposefully do that. So I don't know. I've heard that it might be on the Hornets that they didn't disclose this to the Lakers, and so. But I'm like, the guy's been playing. He's averaging 15 points a game. I don't know. It's a little weird. But then, what was the second question you asked?
Oh, like if you were Connect, like would you feel a little bit of bitterness going back to Lakers, or okay with it?
Yeah, I feel a little awkward. But you do have to understand though. You got traded for Luka. Oh, sorry. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You got traded for. I mean, yeah, you're probably a little bitter, but now you can just say, hey, this is what I can do for the team, and this is what I can do to help, and I could be a big part of Luka and LeBron and all this stuff. So he's a good kid. He's a good player, and they could develop it and be really good. So, so there's that, and then finally, your guy Brandon Ingram on the Pelicans is now on the Raptors. Which honestly, again, is probably not much for the Raptors. They're not going to do anything, but that is a big star from your team, your other team, going to the Raptors.
Yeah. I actually didn't get to see Brandon Ingram play this season. I know he was injured during the 2-month stretch I've been with ESPN South Louisiana.
Yeah.
I'll say I actually did predict this trade happening for these assets because Toronto Raptors, right now they're, I believe, 9th or 10th in the ratings, and they really want that extra boost of a star who could give them, some depth in the small forward areas, give them some forward depth, guard depth.
Yeah.
But they're really just looking to make that push to get into the playoffs, and giving up Olynyk and giving up Brown, they're really not losing out many of their assets. It just makes a lot of sense on paper.
Absolutely, for sure. So Brandon Ingram has a new home to the Raptors, and wasn't bad for not that bad for you guys, right? So
yeah.
All right. Lastly, in this ball, we had a lot of stuff in this segment. College hoops. We had some big games this weekend. Number 1 versus number 2, Auburn against Alabama. Auburn ends up winning this game 94-85. I end up watching this game for the whole game. I was very interested. I hadn't really watched college hoops this whole season. It was really good. And I'm like, and we're gonna bring up women's hoops too, but it's basketball. Like in college basketball, it is basketball, and like everyone touches the ball. Like women's more so than the men's. Women's is more it's just more focused on the fundamentals of basketball, passing it, getting the right shot, all that stuff. And the men's is too, but it's a little more at times one-on-one and on athleticism. But it's just good basketball, and when the fans get into it, it's good. So that was a fun game to watch, Alabama versus Auburn. And then in women's college hoops, we had number 7 UConn absolutely dominate number 4 South Carolina, 87-58, and South Carolina was at home. And then number 3 Texas defeats number 5 LSU, 65-58. Another big matchup there. So a lot of good college hoops, and I'm excited for March Madness.
Yeah, talking about women's hoops. I know a couple episodes ago you mentioned that I went to go see Notre Dame versus Boston College. And my dad is, by technicality, also Notre Dame alumni, Stonehill connection.
Right.
So he's also really rooting for this Notre Dame team that's currently ranked number 1 for women's basketball. And they've got 4 players, I believe, who are projected to go top 10 in the WNBA draft. So I think this is a team that might not getting full attention right now, but once March comes in, rolls in, I think that you're going to see a lot of Notre Dame media hype from behind them
Yep.
because they really have a really talented team.
Yeah, they just won their game this weekend. I forget the score, but they are talented. They're number one in the league right now in college in women's college hoops. So that'll be good. That'll be good to watch. Juju Watkins too is a stud, and Paige Becker is. So a lot of great stuff happening in women's college hoops and college hoops in general. Okay, we gotta move now. We gotta move now into our next segment, the Super Bowl. It's gonna be really quick because but fly, Eagles, fly. All right. Philly won. Philly got the W 40-22. Absolute blowout. Not even a game. Don't even really have to talk about it that much. But Mahomes look human. Andy Reid look human. Good for Jalen Hurts. Good for Saquon Barkley. What does this mean for both teams in a nutshell?
Yeah. So fly Eagle. Yeah. I know that you were definitely pulling for them. I was rooting for the Chiefs, but during the game, I'm obviously a Tom Brady supporter as well. And the big thing for me is I thought this was a very big legacy game for Patrick Mahomes. If he won this game, he got his three-peat. Brady's never had a three-peat before. He loses this game, he choked under pressure, especially by this massive blowout.
Yeah.
And now there's almost no argument about the GOAT because this game he had to win, and he completely blew it.
Yeah, I will just say I think this speaks a little more to Andy Reid than Patrick Mahomes. I just think the game plan was just awful. And now Andy Reid has no shot being the greatest coach. I mean, nope, done, kaput. I still think Patrick Mahomes still has a chance to be the GOAT. And now it's about rings. Now it's about numbers. So he has to get there. But there's a gauntlet now. Ravens, Bills, all of them are coming after him because now they've seen that they're exposed. So we'll see what happens there. I'm hoping that the Chiefs never get back. No more Taylor Swift. And we're good. So,
Yeah. Did you see who won the Super Bowl pool?
Oh yeah, Uncle Kenny. Uncle Kenny did. Shout out to you, Uncle Kenny, for winning your pool. That was fun. I enjoyed that. Made me think a lot about the games, and I was third. I think I'm pretty sure I was third behind your dad. So that was fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
So talking about like Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, like conspiracy theories behind the Chiefs and all this stuff. Like
Yeah.
conspiracy theory, right? We have Uncle Kenny who won the pool,
Oh
and
no.
that was for the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
But who won the regular season pool? Do you know?
Regular season pool. I don't know.
So obviously Uncle Kenny's the commissioner,
Right.
and then the commissioner's wife won the regular pool.
Oh really?
I'm just
really. Uh-oh. We may need a new commissioner. That's what Eric's trying to say. He wants to be commissioner.
Conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy, for sure, for sure. All right, next, our Supernova Superstar, all right? This is going to be multiple superstars, all right? We got to get our sunglasses here, okay? Because this is a team effort. Oh, man, my sunglasses are on tight today. Ready for this? Our Supernova Superstars for this episode are all of New Bedford varsity basketball team, okay? The whole team, all right? The men's team. Now, I will just say the reason why they are Supernova Superstar for this episode is because they have swept our arch rivals, Durfee High School. They have beat them. I don't know how many times they played them, but they beat them every time. And the last time they beat them was at 71-58. So they whooped them. And good for you guys. Good for you guys. New Bedford varsity team, men's team. You know, anytime there's something about Durfee, and again, we went to charter, so we didn't have that rivalry really.
Just Whaling City.
Just Whaling City, yeah. Which is that's is that a rivalry? I don't know. I don't know people would, but if anything about Durfee, I want to get that out there. So good for you guys, congrats, and hope to continue, winning games. All right, when in the world, Eric, go at it. Go at it with yours first.
Here we go. All right, so of course we have March Madness coming up. A lot of hype around college hoops. And one report is that Cooper Flagg may not be returning to Duke next season.
Oh my gosh.
So as reported, there was an interview with Cooper Flagg, and he said, "I think I may be coming back to Duke. I love it so much." Now, you do have to take these comments with a grain of salt. College analyst Dick Vitale from ESPN weighed in on it. And he said, "Man, I've got a better chance of growing hair than Cooper Flagg coming back to Duke. No way, no chance. There's no question he's obviously making good money with the NIL. But I tell you what, that check he's gonna get next season is gonna be a whole new world. Can't take a chance on injury. Can't take a chance. So, I'm gonna say whether his status with Duke is confirmed next year is really up in the air. He, of
Mhm.
course, says that he's enjoying his time with the team. What do you think, Isaiah?
I mean, I guess the only reason I could see Cooper Flag wanting to go back to Duke next season is just the fact that, they have a good team right now. I think they're ranked number 3 in all college hoops. I think if he just wants to win there, I think that's the only reason. He's going to get the money in the NBA. He's going to get more money in the NBA, right? I think that NIL deal there's no chance it's going to compare to the money he's going to get in the NBA. So, look, at the end of the day, it's his decision, and people are gonna one way or the other bash it or like it. So, I mean, he's still a kid, younger than us, which is it's crazy to think about, like college hoops and like think that all these people now are younger. It's odd, but yeah, I mean, if he wants to go to Duke, go to Duke. But I can only see the reason being that he would want to win and try to get a championship, not just for the money. That doesn't seem right.
Yeah. So it definitely would be I'd say in terms of recent NBA, it would be unconventional for a top prospect to wait another year or two before actually going to the draft.
Yeah.
I know, recent trends, it's been one and done. But hypothetically, let's say that Cooper Flag made the decision. He says, I'm coming back to Duke next season. What are you doing if you're one of those NBA teams like the Pelicans or the Jazz who have been kind of on the down?
Yeah, I don't know. You better look at other options. You better be open-minded. I don't know. I don't really know who is out there in terms of is this like a whole deja vu of last year with, you know, really not being anyone, kind of being more so international names coming in the draft. I don't know. I generally don't know. I haven't looked. I don't know who is really good um in college men's basketball. So I know some people in Alabama. I know one person in Auburn, but I don't even know if they're going to be in the draft. So, um, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, be open minded. I think that's the best bet for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My opinion, I think that he's kind of right buying into the hype right before March Madness. And I think once June comes along, he's going to be in that draft.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
what I think.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, again, my thing is if they get close, maybe, and he wants to try to do it a repeat again, but players are transferring now, the whole portal thing, and yeah, he should probably move.
I think he's only 18, 19, right?
He's young. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the other thing too is think about the human aspect of it. He's a college student. Maybe he's enjoying his time being on Duke's campus, and maybe he just wants to have those experiences that he might not get once he goes to the NBA.
True. Yeah. I mean, hey, I enjoyed college for the most part. Those exams stressed me out, but I mean, for the most part, it was great. It was great. So for sure, the experience is big. All right, for me, one in the world. Did you see this, Eric? University of Illinois hanging up the jersey of Terrence Shannon Jr.'s or Terrence Shannon Jr.'s jersey upside down. Did you see that?
I haven't caught that. No.
No. Well, I saw it. I think probably just researching and scrolling on my ESPN app, and I saw this and I was like, that's bad. That's really bad. But it gets even more interesting if you look into it. So Shannon Jr. led University of Illinois last year in their first ever Elite Eight in 20 years. Which is great. It's good, right? Not so great though. He was suspended midseason last year for being charged with sexual assault. He's found not guilty though. So he came back and played, but he wasn't even at Illinois for all of his college career. He was at Texas Tech for 3 years before transferring to University of Illinois. And even he was shocked. He said, I was shocked because I was only here for 2 years. So yes, the jersey backwards is really bad, or upside down is really bad. But then I'm like, why is this kid's jersey being retired? What? 1 year out? And then I did I looked on their on their website to see who else's jersey they signed, and I don't really know any of the names. But their accolades, first of all, are much better. Not that this isn't, a small feat. This is big. But the kid was there 1 year. And yeah, they got to if they won the whole thing, okay, I can see. I can maybe let it go. But to the Elite Eight in 20 years, yes, that's nice. And he did get he's one of the like all-time scorers for the team. But I don't know, it's odd. It's very odd. That whole thing. Not just I think that jersey being upside down was representative of the whole situation.
Yeah. I mean, University of Illinois is like, I'm assuming their program's not the strongest in comparison to the rest of the nation. I mean, if he's their best player in recent history, I guess so. But like you said, he's there for like a year.
Yeah, but they have a lot of jerseys retired there too. It's like I don't know. They're just kind of I don't know. It's interesting over there. So if you are from University of Illinois and you are watching this, please tell us the process of how your team retires jerseys, specifically men's basketball. I don't know how everyone else does it, but
Yeah. I mean, this is like kind of a off the ball question, and you really don't have like your notes in front of you like to see the thing of it.
Yeah.
But can you think of a recent player retirement that was like a jersey hung up? Like we had Derrick Rose, of course, that was deserved.
yeah.
I can't think of one that was kind of iffy that you felt like
Oh,
someone's retirement who you felt like was like, maybe not really.
yeah, yeah. That's a good question. I gotta think about all sports for a second because if I just think NBA, I can't think of any. I'm gonna have to come back on you with that.
All right.
That's a good question.
I'm going to give an example.
Okay. Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know
Yep.
Michael Jordan is very influential, and I agree that the Bulls 100% should retire his jersey.
Yep.
But the Miami Heat, like he had nothing to do with the team. I mean, I respect the move of like having kind of a universal retirement of a number.
Yeah.
Like I can understand that thing, but I just think that was done not in bad taste, but also not in the best taste.
Mm.
Where like it was just not necessary to retire his jersey
Sure.
because he had no impact for the franchise.
Right. Right. Yeah, that is odd. That is odd. Kind of a universal thing. But yeah, I don't. Nothing comes to mind right now. But maybe this will be a mailbag question for next time. All right. And speaking of, we're gonna go into our final segment. But before we go into our final segment, Aaron, I'm gonna do something kind of awkward because I'm gonna take off my hat and show off my my lovely hair here. But my head was hurting.
I can see like a crease. Like
this is a little yeah, you see that guys? Actually, oh yeah, we're gonna go into the full zoom in on my
that's a lot of damage
forehead
there.
right here. Yeah, this is like Peyton Manning right here. Look at that, guys. That was that's what I'm dealing with. This is what I do for you guys. All right, this is the sacrifice I made.
You're gonna have to retire the half for that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that Red Sox. I put it on tighter because we don't have to go through. Okay. Let's get into our mailbag though. Let me ask you first, Eric. Here. We talked a little bit about this, and I feel like you kind of asked this question to me during our All-Star segment, and maybe you answered it too. But let me ask you, how would you improve the All-Star game? Oh, sorry, wait a minute. That's your question. It's the hat, guys. It's the hat. I lost some brain cells there. Okay, my question to you is, what's the biggest storyline coming into the second half of the NBA season for you?
I feel like it's very obvious, but I think that seeing how LeBron and Luka Doncic gel together and seeing if they can make that playoff push and how far they go
Yep.
is really the biggest storyline going forward. Priority number one.
Yeah.
The second one, usually if things are going well in a city, like Oklahoma City Thunder, they're number one in the West. You really don't hear much news about them. They're just kind of smooth sailing.
Yep.
But a team like the Golden State Warriors, where they just got Jimmy Butler, and really they could either go up or they could go down. I feel like that's another big storyline people are going to ride on.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely the Luka LeBron, seeing how that goes. I don't think this is going to be a big storyline, but you got to look at the other side of this trade with Anthony Davis and how the Mavs have I think ascending a little bit. See how that plays out and see if they're actually going to be a contender with all their players. We weren't really talking about the Celtics that much today. I mean, again, it's the All-Star break, not much going on there. But, just for local news, they need to be dominant. when I say dominant, like they don't need to win every game by 20 points, but they need to remind the NBA that they are the best team, that they are the champions. And again, they need to make a run again. And they really should. The Cavs will make a push. It should be the Celtics Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I'm going to go Celtics right now, but I'm not going to. The Cavs are talented and they've been talented for a while. And now it seems to be gelling together. So they could make some noise. Still going Celtics. But they need to remind the league who they are, because I think they're number 2 in the East, but I don't know if they've shown it.
Yeah, I agree with that same sentiment. I know last season the narrative behind the Celtics was, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum can't work together. Jaylen Brown wants to leave. They're not that dominant. They can't work together.
Yeah,
they can't do it. Just simply don't have the power. And then they won the championship, and now it's like, can they do it again? So I feel like it's really the world versus Boston, and they really do need to like step up and continue to show like, hey, we are going to continue fighting this adversity and showing we are the best team in the NBA.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm actually going to switch up my mailbag question.
Oh, let's do it.
Kinda
yes.
throw you off the loop.
Yep. Oh, let's go. I love being thrown off.
Of course, we had Valentine's Day recently. I'll give a quick shout out to my family. For the last 25 years, we've been having a yearly tradition where we go out to eat at Wendy's.
Yes.
And you've been a part of those, I think?
Yes. I've been a part of the one. But I think, remember that one time we went, it was closed?
Oh, yeah.
I had to just go to McDonald's or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like the candle and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty romantic.
It was great. Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yep, all of us. But yeah, getting into Valentine's Day, not really talking about relationships, like not dating, but which NBA like team and player do you think has like the rockiest relationship right now?
Oh, I mean, anyone who's involved with Joel Embiid right now. Anyone who's involved with Joel Embiid. I mean, I don't know if it shows really, but I mean, Tyrese Maxey, like you got to feel for him. Not only with him, Paul George too has laid an egg this season. And so, I mean, there's got to be rift there, 100%. I mean, I don't know what has happened to Joel Embiid, his kind of descent. Obviously, it's him not playing games, but his attitude and what he's, on the court and off the court, it's not great. So that's one that comes to mind for me. Yeah. Do you have one in mind?
I agree with the 76ers. I guess kind of a sleeper is the Suns.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
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 I think Kevin Durant even talked about, he might want to leave this summer and go somewhere else, even be traded.
Yep.
But I feel like, there's got to be some rift there, but backstage, we'll see.
Oh, yeah. No, actually, there was like a reporter who had mentioned that there is, like, the locker room, it was quoted, the locker room is toxic right now. So, I mean, when this whole big 3 thing now has not worked. You go back to the Nets, now the Suns. Are big 3 is dead now? I don't know. Dynamic duo was obviously a thing, but like your prototypical big 3, I don't know if that's there anymore.
Oh, guess it's gonna be a cliffhanger.
It'll be a cliffhanger. And on that note, that is gonna be the end of our Barely Friends podcast. My name's Isaiah.
My name's Eric.
Thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you next time. Be safe out there. See you soon.
Peace.
Why don't you let me in, baby? Why don't you let me in, baby? Why don't you let me in? Your eyes like the color of the ocean, the ocean. Why don't you let me in? Why don't you let me in?